16th, make a motion to approve.
Second.
You have a second? All's in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstain. I know we're a little bit behind. Anybody here, just give you a heads up, we'll take it as the time gets there. East Walpole Clock Tower, if you're here for that, that's gonna be continued. We'll do that when it's time. For the hearing, Bristol Brothers, site plan and special permit, the same thing, they are continuing. And the last one that's continuing is Warwick subdivision. All three of those will be continuing, and I will do the formal when it's time to take them up. So if anybody's here for that, you don't have to stay. Okay, next one is, you got a couple to endorse quickly, Kate? Get them done?
There's only one. It's
One,
only
okay.
going to endorse,
2250? Okay. And it's all set, Carl?
Yes, it is.
Okay. I think we can, more than one thing at a time, just to speed things along. Portland Way, we'll do that while we're all signing off. Joe, you got anything left on the ground to do, or is it all, what do you call it?
99% is engineering, but we do have to modify.
Can you, I'm sorry, can you come up to
Joe,
the
you gotta come
microphone?
up here. Kate, can I have a Sharpie?
Sure.
Yeah, so 99%, well, 90% is engineering. We do have to modify the handicap ramp. They built it to the cut sheet, but that put it outside the town line. So we're 8 inches out, so we got to take that out, replace that. And talking with Chris and Jim Thomas on the trees that we need to plant.
So in regards to the neighbors, everything on the ground is done other than fixing?
In regard to the neighbors, yes, exception the trees. And I have to deal with them to locate, so between the town engineer and Jim Thomas, the tree warden, we will locate those, hopefully, into their agreement.
All right, do you have it in their deeds, or do they even know about them?
The trees, they do know about them, but originally, they're not in any plan anywhere.
Yeah.
So last meeting, they were told about them. They did contact me asking just to be in the loop to where they could go.
All right,
And,
so, all right, because it's on their property, if they want to move into the backyard, that's up to
Yeah.
them, wherever that goes. Okay.
Right, no, exactly. We don't have, I was just speaking with Carl a little bit, that we don't have a lot of options to plant them. It's a lot of underground stuff, but
So you guys know
we'll
where
work
to
with
go
them.
Okay. All right, and that's it?
That's it, I believe.
So what, are you waiting for some,
So, essentially, it's the engineers, and so obviously, Carl's going to need some time to review. When it comes to us, we'll see if there's any other modifications that are necessary, and we'll make all the modifications at the same time.
okay, and the engineer, what, GLM?
Yes.
I know it wouldn't be Mr. Glosser, because he's sitting right there.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes?
one exceptional item, there's a light, Cobra head light up by Eversource since now and last fall, which is very good. We don't have to wait for any Eversource issues.
Oh, okay. All right, thanks, Joe.
right.
And you all set?
Thank you.
Did I make a motion to endorse? All right, make a motion to endorse the plan, being all set per Carl. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second, all in favor? Aye. There you go. All right, so we don't gonna take care of Portland, take care of that, no Heidi. So now, take care of some of the stuff. First item of business tonight, 7:05, we have, in accordance with Chapter 40, Section 15, Scenic Road Act, Mass General Laws as amended, Chapter 87, we'll have a joint meeting with the tree warden on Thursday, April 23rd at 7:05 in the main meeting room. Request from Conservation Commission, removal of existing stone wall along the town-owned parcel between 930 and 962 North Street. The applicant's proposing to construct a pull-off area along North Street for the access to the town conservation land for passive recreation. The proposal requires the removal of approximately 337 linear feet of existing stone wall. There are no trees larger than 4 inches in diameter, so the tree warden is not part of this. And to help mitigate the removal of the wall, the applicant will utilize the stones to construct a new stone wall along the border of the pull-off area. Okay, with that being said, it's open, and I'm sure a lot of you people have never dealt with this. And what I'll read so you understand what we're dealing with is, this is a Mass General law, and the purpose under our scenic roads in our own town bylaws is to preserve natural resources, environmental and historic values, scenic and aesthetic characteristics, public safety, traffic volume congestion, relationship of design standards to the Walpole Planning Board's rules and regs, I can't even say that, actions to propose such as replacement trees or walls. If they had to do it, they would have to add, if we asked them to, more trees or more wall. Functional urgency of the repair, maintenance, or reconstruction, financial otherwise, to avoid damage or to reduce damage to trees or stone walls or other considerations. So that's what the whole purpose of it is, and everything else is how the hearings go. So with that being said, we get this from the Board of Selectmen that gets filed, and they come to us for the hearing. So with that being said, we'll allow the applicant to present what they have. After that, the board will ask questions. After that, anybody here for it will be able to come up and ask questions or voice their concerns after we go through the whole route.
Is there supposed to be a place for date here, too?
What?
Is there supposed to be a place for date?
At the bottom, it said approved. Okay, so that being said, whomever here would like to present for the town?
You want me to just add it in?
No, just leave it, we'll add it when we need it. You can do it over there, since everybody's on that side, they can see what's up. And I assume the camera, can you hit that? Okay.
Thank you for having me tonight, Board. My name is Joseph Conran. I am Assistant Town Engineer for the Town of Walpole. I am here for the scenic road hearing for the North Street pull-off to Town Conservation Land. Essentially, what we plan to do is put a 20 by 40 pull-off over on the side of North Street. There's a scenic wall there now. I have pictures of it. It's kind of all underneath soil already. So what we're gonna do is bring it back up to grade, put it around the pull-off area, and leave a little 5-foot space for a walkway down the future for access to conservation land. Is there anything else in there?
No?
One thing is this land is deed restricted for no parking. So it's just gonna be just a pull-off access for people to idle their car. And that's basically about it.
Okay. I guess you've done it. Okay, I'll read, before I turn over the board, I'll read comments we have from other departments, from the Justin Monta, I guess that's how you pronounce his name, the tree warden. He said, please be advised, I inspected the site and found no trees greater than 4 inches, so he has no objection to the project. We had asked, we got something from Patrick Shields, the Assistant Town Administrator, and he said the conservation, this is a conservation project, recently acquired parcel. Town meeting has appropriated the funding for this project back in the fall. So that's their answer to what they, as far as if this is going or not. I mean, the selectmen didn't say whether they for or against it, they just told us this has been funded at, what, the fall town meeting, I believe? Okay, and that's as far as it's gone with them. So, with that being said, I'll turn it over. Sarah, do you have any comments or questions or anything?
Yeah, so one of my question was expected parking, and you've said that no, it's not allowed.
So this land is deed restricted. It's only for passive recreation.
Okay,
No cars are supposed to be allowed to park there.
okay. So are you gonna have, excuse me, signs that will say no parking, or how will people know?
We would put signs that say no
What
parking.
signs? Okay. It's kind of unusual with the scenic road, but it has elements of like site plan, like if there's, if there's signs and things like that, we don't usually deal with that. And then would you have signs in the pull-off area that says no parking? And would you also need signs as you're approaching
So,
from both directions
as
to
we're
let drivers know.
As they're approaching, they wouldn't need it because there's nowhere to pull off anyways, because it's such a narrow road
Uh-huh.
as it is. So the only way they're gonna do it is if they pull off, and then there'll be signs in the pull-off area along the wall saying no parking.
Okay. I just have concerns that someone can safely pull off and they know, you know, that this pull-off is approaching and so you probably have looked at that, so if you could alleviate my concerns.
I'm just going to jump in here,
Yeah.
Landis Hershey, Conservation Agent. So as far as the safety issues with North Street, I think we all realize North Street is a very busy street. We realize in order for people to come down from Adams Farm and cross the street and go onto this property, that it will have to be addressed. My understanding that safety was not part of the scenic road hearing process.
Right.
I understand it's concerned, we have talked about it a lot.
Yeah.
We're concerned also, Conservation Commission, nor me as their agent, want to create a situation that's unsafe. So, and I also realize that North Street is extremely busy right now. I think everyone can attest that something needs to be done to slow traffic down on North Street regardless of this pull-off or not. So we understand that.
Okay, so then what will be the mechanism where like these safety issues will be addressed? Within like a conservation hearing or?
Well, that's another issue in addition to the scenic road hearing
Yeah.
process.
Right.
So we'll talk to the other departments in town and come up with the best solution for what type of signage makes sense or what kind of crossing makes sense. That's
Okay.
definitely on the list.
Okay. Okay, so putting that aside and hoping that that will be taken care of in another avenue, I just had a question. So it looks like maybe there's also a chain link fence. Is that part of the same area that's going to be removed? This is all based on my Google Maps, you know,
There's
Google
no
Earth.
chain link
There's
fence.
no fence in that area?
No.
Okay, that has to be removed on top of a stone wall or anything? No? Okay. All right, and then just the location of the pull-off, is that tied on this plan to bounds or something? Has it been identified exactly, the location?
So we haven't like officially nailed down, but we know we cannot be within the 25 buffer zone of
Okay.
the stream. And that's cutting it close on the north side of it.
Okay.
That will be more addressed during construction.
Okay. So, Carl, are you comfortable, Mr. Boldoff?
It can be dimensioned from the lot corner as far as location goes, probably
Yeah.
drawing back onto one of the other hearings we had.
Okay.
We have some dimensions on there, we don't have a dimension to the lot corner that could be added.
Okay, okay.
The property has been surveyed, so.
Yeah, okay. Okay, so, I mean, just looking at, you know, the stone wall and the trees, it looks like you've made reasonable, you know, accommodations, and you've moved the wall that you're gonna disturb, and so, you know, I'm okay with what you've shown. Thank you.
Phil?
Yeah, so from a perspective of the scenic road hearing, and knowing you know, it's going to give access to Willard Pond, I think it's, you know, a good thing to do. I do have a couple questions. So the turnoff, that's not going to be paved, right? Is it, or is it going to be just stone or gravel or?
It's gonna be basically millings that we get from paving the road.
How's this?
It's gonna be like dense gravel.
Dense gravel. Yeah. And then I would hope that if it turned out to be a problem, then you would just remove the parking, you know, the area, you know, the town, either the police or whatever we do for safety, road safety. If it was determined to be an issue, then appropriate action can be taken then, but certainly the signs hopefully will do the job. So I did drive by it, and, you know, it's, as you said, the stone wall is actually fairly low right there, yeah. So you're going to make it better by making the stone wall more visible, actually. So I'm supportive of that.
Okay. Kate?
So, In the past, when we've had the scenic roads, we've always limited the amount they can take out, and usually it's the width just to get in and out, which 37 feet seems like a lot more than that. That's in the 6 years I've been here, that, almost 6 years, that we've never allowed that span. And when they did, they replaced it in the same distance off the road as it had previously been. So there's no way you could make it so that it's more of a mouth rather than a wide opening, and then let the people go in that way. There's not enough room, right? It slopes off too much, or?
Yeah, I would just add, when your car is coming down the road, it needs to pull off, so it can't go like, turn like it's going into a driveway.
No, I know, but we've done like driveway-type deals where it's been like that, and they just widen it enough so that you can pull in. And they've been on High Street and North Street, so it's a situation of same type, same road traveled. It just worries me, again, setting precedent that we've let 37 feet go like that.
I guess I would add, if you drive by there, you don't see a stone wall at existing grade. So the definition of, in the scenic road regulations is a stone wall at above existing grade. And they're really stones that have tumbled down.
They usually are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the bylaw states at existing grade, so some will be pulled up and be more visible than they are now.
That's my concern.
Okay, John?
Looks like the land is generally sloping down. At the roadway interface, is it sloped down immediately off the road, or I'm wondering if there's going to be any drainage back onto the road caused by this?
No, we're gonna grade it away from the road, so it's gonna be graded towards the slope wall, towards the stone wall. Doesn't really show it good on this plan, but it's on a other one.
So the trapezoid is basically the turn-off area. What's the rectangle
That's-
leading into it?
That's the walkway that's gonna lead into it.
And is that going to be impervious at all, or is that just going to be dirt, or
It's just
what?
gonna be dirt.
So the general purpose of this is just to be allow drop-off of people who are going to be walking this?
It's,
If there's no parking there,
it's for access to conservation land.
right, the
Right,
conservation
so
land
it's
is here, yeah.
so just a little history on why this is where it is. Way back when, I'm not sure how many years ago, there was a public access easement drafted for Willett Pond, which allowed for 2 public access easements. One on Brook Street, known as the beach, near the Fish and Gun Club, where people can launch their boats from the beach. The second one was the peninsula, which is adjacent to this property. This property was owned by New England Forest Foundation, and they decided that they wanted to sell it. And the Conservation Commission stepped up, and we were a really good partner for the New England Forest Foundation. And we purchased, or the Conservation Commission purchased the property about a year ago, knowing that there was this public access easement adjacent to the far end of the site. So the idea is to have a pull-off. One, so if there is a very energetic kayaker that wants to pull off, drop his or her boat and perhaps a friend, and then go and park up at Adams Farm, and then you can walk down from Adams Farm along the open field very easily to get to this point, across North Street. Pick up your kayak, canoe, carry it about 400 feet to the pond, to the edge of the conservation land, and just step over to the Napontet Land Holdings property, and there is the public access easement that you can launch. So it's much easier to launch from Brook Street, so most people will launch from Brook Street. On occasion, you may have someone who wants to launch from this site, and the pull-off will enable them to unload their kayak. In addition, it will allow the Conservation Commission, myself as their agent, and any other departments at hand to monitor the site, to make sure that, trash is picked up, to make sure if there's an event there that it can be quickly get to it, to walk the site, to, put up any signs that we need to. We do have to put signage down by the pond, maybe a bench, just to get to the site easier. This pull-off will be available.
How far is it from the Adams Farm parking to this turnoff then?
I don't know.
Who drew the plans? We did? Based on the plans, do you recall how far? Approximation then?
Is this, I can get you that figure, but is it
Not that-
pertinent to the scenic road hearing?
I'm just curious about people walking up and down the street.
It's not on the street. Not on the street. You can walk on the,
Oh, you said you
like
could walk
people walk
across.
throughout Adams Farm on trails, people who want to go out on trails, go out on trails. There, you can walk through the fields, and we will, indicate the route to go down to the pond. They will not be walking on the street. They will not be walking adjacent to the street. They will be walking on the field area, with trees between them.
I don't think I have any other questions.
You all set? John, you all
Yes.
set? All right. Just to point out, just so everyone understands, that part of us, very clearly, it says public safety, so anything to do with this scenic road involves public safety, because you're accessing a road. So just let's everybody understand that. Question I have is, in your deed, are you allowed to do this?
The chairman of the Conservation Commission is here as well, but the deed restricts parking. We cannot put a parking spot there.
It doesn't
We
restrict,
had conversations with New England Forest Foundation prior to purchasing the property. This is what we wanted to do from the beginning, Conservation wanted to do the beginning,
No,
and there was
I-
no objections.
whether they object or not, doesn't matter, it's what's in the deed. Can you do this per the deed?
Yes,
So the deed doesn't restrict you from doing filling and grading and all that?
not that I know of, no.
Okay. Do you presently have an opening there?
Is there an opening?
Yeah, isn't there, didn't you show us a path already or not?
You can, so there's quite a slope that goes from the road down, but you can go down there, and once you're at grade, yes, you can go
But the
through
pictures you gave
trees.
us, you show us that it looks like a path right off of this. Is that already there?
Yes.
All right.
Can you walk that way? Yes, I've done
So-
it several times.
All right, so what I'm doing, based upon what the Scenic Road Act is too, is the fact that you're not asking for access for cars, you already have access for walking. So this is not necessarily access for cars, because the way the scenic roads work is we can't deny somebody from entering the scenic road. If you have a piece of property, you want to build a house, you're allowed to build, and we restrict how much wall you can take out, how many trees. And if you already have a way in, we can say, use the other way in, but you already have a way in here. That's what I'm hearing you saying. Now, the next question is, does Adams Farm itself come all the way right across from this turnoff? No. So you can't, so if you're gonna walk, you're not walking on any field, you're walking on someone else's fields, right?
It's New England Forestry.
They own all that?
So they own the parcel across the street.
Okay.
Then that is connected to the water pump that is connected to Adams Farm, so you can walk. I've done that.
Dave, okay, you,
Jack Wiley,
Yeah, hi, Jack.
the Adams Farm Committee and also Conservation. North Street in that area is a 50-foot right-of-way, so that the area walking from the entrance at Adams Farm would be along, parallel to North Street, but within the right-of-way, but not on the street.
all right, the center line of the 50 feet, is that the center line of North Street? Because we've had.
No.
Which way, do you know which way it goes?
Basically, what I've seen is the line on the east side, that would be on where our property is that we're talking about.
So it's more, the center line's more towards the pond.
So so the center line, the edge of the right-of-way is more along that east side of North Street. So basically, it extends to the west beyond the street.
Would it, well, from just my perspective of access and safety, it'd probably make it smarter if you guys could just have a little, they could park their cars right across the street and then walk across with the kayak, but I know that's not what you proposed here. Okay,
That's not our property,
yeah, it's New England Forestry.
right?
All right, and you have the opening now. Now, the other thing is, this still has, this is not, you kind of jumped a little, this has not gone through the approval of the Board of Selectmen, correct? They have to vote on it, they're the road commissioners, you have to present them a plan, you gotta do a whole lot of stuff to do this, I understand.
No, this plan is not presented, as far as I know, been presented to the select board.
It hasn't been.
No.
So they gotta say, okay, or they may make improvements. Well, where I'm going with this, Jack, is, you know, Landis keeps talking about, you know, the safety. Well, that's gonna come up with them,
Right.
especially for the signage, because we don't control signage, we only control trees and walls. And, you know, it's unfortunate, if we had that, we wouldn't be asking some of these questions on what they're looking for. If that was already done, and here's what it's all been agreed to, we could, we kind of going off because it's not there. So this will have to, they'll have to put, you have to put a plan in front of them and have the police and everyone else talk about it, correct? Okay. Is that, do you know if that's scheduled for any time?
No, there's no schedule on that at this point.
Okay. Would it, we'll throw this out, would it be smart to wait for after their input if something changes a little? Because if not, you gotta do this all over again.
I would suggest that you proceed as presented, because this select board was involved with the funding for this, so they're aware that this was intended
Yeah,
to
but
do.
a lot of-
So,
lot of
but yeah,
things-
they haven't seen this exact.
A lot of funds get funded and never see the light of day, as we know, but the fact is, this is still gonna have to go, this is all up to them, basically constructing this is a town project, and so on, but like I said, to me, it would have been, if we had the final, all the votes, this would have been, we wouldn't be dealing with what's going on with the safety, and is this big enough? The other thing, I'm looking at it, trying to scale off, when I put this on my computer, it's about 12 feet deep from the side of the road, is that right?
Yeah, good car.
12?
No, it's
20.
like, it's longer than that.
No, deep, not length. So when I want my car door this side and this side,
No, it's bigger than that.
well,
It says it's only 14 feet on one side and 13 on the
No,
other, and
no.
that's angled,
yeah, so,
so it can't be much bigger.
yeah, it ain't much, I did it today, so if I'm off a foot, shoot me, but it's kind of tight. Because I know you talked about putting kayaks and all that stuff, typically you're gonna get two people coming out both sides of the car and that.
What's this width here?
That 14 feet is the angled
No,
width.
I understand, no, I put this on a computer with my own little program and come out 12 feet
Yeah.
across, perpendicular to North Street. So that's all I'm saying, is that enough?
It's about 13 feet
All right, so-
wide from the gutter line, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah, so 13 feet isn't a long way to open up two-car doors and all. That's, when I saw this, I'm saying, wait a minute, let me look. And the other thing, is that enough turn down? Or does the car gotta go like that? It's gonna come from both directions, correct? You can't stop them coming from,
So I go north. You can't come from south.
why can't you?
Of course you
Because
can.
if you go, you got to go across the lane of traffic.
Yeah,
And?
there's nothing that says you can't. Right? What I'm saying, it's, when you're gonna pull in, it's, I know what you're trying to do, but I'm looking at just practical. You're gonna have to go, as opposed to nice angle out. That's all, and you're gonna get hit from coming down from Bubbling Brook. So I'm just looking at it from that perspective. Is 13 feet wide enough to put the two doors open, being enough off the road, not hitting that stone wall? And is it enough to go in? I understand what you're trying to do. I'm just looking at it from that perspective. I mean, I'm not gonna build it for you. You guys think it's enough, that's all I'm saying. I'm just bringing up those issues, just from my own way of looking at it, too. Well, that'd be no parking, okay, and you're gonna put side, but that doesn't really concern us. So that was my comments on this, looking at all this stuff, because this is highly unusual, because you're not actually accessing for a car, you're just moving it over, so. With that being said, though, my question to you is, where is the town property? Is that stone wall the boundary for the 50 feet, did you say? Or is it beyond?
So the stone wall is on the property line.
Okay, so that is the property line, okay. Just like it always, in the old days, okay. All right, that, so that's a full 25, all right.
So that would basically mean they're parking in the street.
Yeah, you could,
Yeah.
depends how good a driver you are.
Within the right-of-way, I should say.
Yeah, but,
Correct.
yeah, but it all comes down how good a driver you are and how close. But anyway, okay. I just wanted to point those out and what our duties are and everything else. With that being said, I know some people here want to speak to it, so if you come up to the microphone, all I need is your name and address, and you'll be on TV.
On TV. Okay. Good evening. I'm Katie Sissel. I live at 536 Fisher Street in Walpole. I am looking forward to the planned trail access, and I commend the town on purchasing this beautiful piece of land for passive recreation. But I'm really questioning, why would we impact the scenic nature of North Street and the safety with this pullout, given that we've got ample parking at nearby Adams Farm, which I've made the walk from personally, and it's about a 3-minute walk just from Adams Farm to the proposed trail pullout. The proposed pullout, as we all know, is on a busy, narrow, dangerous part of the road. And there's much more accessible lake access at the public beach on Brook Street, which is just 2 minutes away and actually has some nearby street parking. And the fact that the New England Forestry Foundation deed to this property states no parking allowed. Those are my 4 big concerns, and a comment actually, is that there's no current trail from the proposed pullout area at the moment. So that's in a planning stage. And I'm wondering, if we did put the pullout here, what is our enforcement plan for preventing people from parking, which people will unfortunately do. So the walk from the proposed pullout down to the lake, which I've also done myself, is much longer than the short little walk from Adams Farm to that proposed pullout. So if someone can't manage that little walk from Adams Farm, they would not make it down to the lake. That's all. I don't know if these questions are answerable, like proposed enforcement, and as to why we would do this, given the other available parking. So that's all I have to put forth.
Okay.
Appreciate the opportunity for comment.
Yeah, just to answer, they have a right to do this to a certain extent, as far as the safety and all that, and signs and enforcement, that doesn't come under us, they'll have to come under the Board of Selectmen. I would assume they'd have to have a public hearing for this, so this all can be flushed out. I would assume not one day you're gonna see and it's all done, right? And so it would be up to them, because they're the road commissioners and they control all of public safety enforcement. So that would be something for them.
Okay, so that's
Nice.
important
Yep.
to have a mechanism. All right, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? Yep.
Good evening, Rudy Barajas. I'm a resident of Walpole at 1400 North Street. So I've been a resident of Walpole for 30 years approximately, and a resident of North Street for 24 years. So I'm very familiar with the scenic road. My property fronts on the scenic road. And so I do think it's a neat idea to have this access, and it's really cool that it's New England Forestry Foundation, has worked with the Conservation Commission on this to make that happen. I do have a background in civil construction. I am not a PE. I do have some engineering background by degree. And I understand this is not the place to address the safety, like you said. The safety needs to be addressed elsewhere. But I think that when I looked at this plan, and I think you talked about it, Mr. Conroy, that the pull-off angle seems very sharp, which would cause abrupt stopping. The location of this is just after the intersection of North Street and Fisher, and we all know, it's a speedway through there, and that's always a dicey intersection. If you're headed north on Fisher, it's the North Street traffic, and the temptation is, these people want to pull out in front of you. Who's going to go first? I've lived it for 30 years, right? I've experienced that. This particular location happens right after that intersection. And so if the geometry causes rapid deceleration and somebody even hesitating to pull off because that approach angle is too sharp, it creates a very dangerous situation. And also the pedestrian access, people crossing the road at that location. I didn't hear anything about the pedestrian safety really being addressed. Signage, is there going to be a crosswalk there? How is that going to be managed? I think there needs to be signage, not just for the wayfinding, to tell people that it's there, but also how is the traffic going to be controlled? How is the pedestrian safety going to be controlled? Very important issues, and again, not to be solved here, but I think that when those questions are addressed, if they do get addressed, may result in a change in the geometry of what's proposed.
Okay, I agree, and just so you understand, we're only dealing with the stone wall.
Yes, I understand.
And they should be having something in front of the selectmen at that time. Those are the points because they're the ones building that. If they take a little more stone wall, it might affect us, but for the most part, we're only dealing with that little bit of stone wall. So however they rectify it along there, that's gonna be for them and all the safety too.
Yep.
So that's where you'd have to voice your concern.
Yes.
We're only dealing with rocks.
Very good. Thank you for
Okay,
allowing me
thank
to
you.
speak.
Anyone else? No?
Yeah, just really quickly, I just want to, Fred Schwartz, 15 Lakeview Drive in Walpole. I think my neighbor Katie made all the relevant points for myself. I think that we're talking about the area of North Street you can argue is one of the most dangerous and also one of the most scenic. And so I think this is a really important discussion for this board. This is one of the prettiest plots of land along North Street. It has been, the history of this has been in the Warren family, which did a lot for this town. and their vision was to keep this pristine in the long term. I think that, the stone wall we're talking about is not just rocks. There's the history of our town is very much embedded on this piece of land. I hope that, again, I cheer the Conservation Commission for their acquisition, and we ask just a tweak of this plan to reconsider the turnout. So I'll leave it there.
Okay.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, if I summarize or hear it, everybody, oh, I'm sorry.
Jack, there's also a letter from one of the abutters.
Okay, let me find.
Actually, two, but. Hi, Laura Fisk, 930 North Street.
Good evening, I'm Kathy Campbell, Burns Avenue. How are you? Appreciate the opportunity to speak. Just wanted clarification, Mr. Chairman. The safety issues that are being discussed here, you're saying that is not under this board's purview, considering it's a scenic road hearing?
Yeah, I mean, if they're coming out at an intersection and they're gonna, it would say, no, you can move it, but this is right in the middle of this, and there's for safety coming out, since you're just gonna walk in, for us, we just make sure that you're not knocking over stones or trees that are gonna interrupt someone else's property. So what you're worried about is any of the signage, crosswalks, safety issues. Will this work from an engineering standpoint? That would have to be addressed by the ultimate, which people who own this, which would be the selectmen.
Okay. So just a quick comment. Again, I know that's not this board, but the deed actually says the premises shall be used exclusively for passive, non-motorized recreational purposes, except for mobility devices for disabled, accessed by emergency vehicles, and it goes on to speak about no parking allowed. So is that something that the selectmen would address?
Yeah.
And on behalf of Laura, just want to, again, be clear, the indication on the plan shows her house over 250 feet away from the actual property line, and the existing home today is 75 feet away from that property line. So again, is that something that we would address at the selectmen's meeting? That I think there's concern for a couple things. The pullout is very close to her house. You have to sort of skid by a fire hydrant and pull in there. And I think, the concern is as that path gets used, people trespassing on her property.
Well, that would, yeah, in the front of the selectmen too, the hydrant and all that, yeah. That would be the time to address. It's more, all what we're talking about here is design. If this was like we've done with everybody else, they've already had the road designed, and they come to us, and they already tell us how much they want to take out. Everything else has been worked out with everybody.
Okay.
Here, it's kind of like the cart before the horse.
Okay.
All right. Okay.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. So I think those are the two that were here, and, okay, I have, okay, come on.
This lady's.
Hi, my name is F. Burgess Small. I live at 962 North Street. I'm Laura's neighbor. Without going into a lot of history, Winslow Warren and Mrs. Warren, they were my godparents, so I have a family connection to this land. I've been here since 1976. I came to house sit for her one summer, and I never left, and I've been here ever since. So I'm very familiar with the property. I'm very familiar with the street. Been commuting off North Street since 1976, and so I know all about the safety issues. But the relevant fact here is that Mrs. Warren and I jointly purchased this property back in 1976 from the Braymeyer daughters after their parents passed away in 1992. And the reason we bought it was to preserve it exactly as it is, exactly as it had been since she moved in 1938. They were very close neighbors, and she wanted to be sure it would never be developed. The reason we were involved with the New England Forestry was because they didn't have any children, and all they cared about was their land being preserved in its pristine state. They were very active in this town. If you look at the records, Mr. Warren was on numerous committees. He was chairman of the Cooperative Bank. He was actually a member of the Conservation Commission. He was an outstanding citizen here, and of course, unfortunately, he's been gone for 50 years, and I'm sure his name is long forgotten, but it bears repeating that, you know, he was a much more active member of the community than I am. That being said, the reason we bought this land was to rear it exactly as it is now, and we trusted the New England Forestry to do that. I have the right to stay in this house as long as I live, to find out that they sold this land to the town for 1/10 of what we paid for it. To protect it is beyond outrageous to me. I cannot begin to express the betrayal that I feel by this outfit. So, you know, I strongly object to this move to build this cutoff. I want to stress that Mrs. Warren and her husband were not opposed to conservation. If you look in the record, they donated lots of acreage of their land to conservation and encouraged other neighboring families to do so. They even used to host the Boys and the Girl Scouts to work on their, you know, hold activities on their land. But if she were alive today, and I have to speak for her, she's been gone for 10 years, I'm sure she would be, you know, outraged that I have to be standing here like this tonight. She would not be opposed to having a hiking trail or having access, and I think that would be appropriate. I don't think it's appropriate to have something that you cannot prevent from being violated. We can put up all the signs we want, but we know just from going to the Stop and Shop that handicapped parking places are not full of handicapped cars, and people will park there, and we can call the police and everything else. Once it's done, it's done. And so I'm strongly, and I will continue to protest to as many people as I can, you know, to prevent this from happening. I would welcome a trail, you know, for access, because the town has legally bought the land. I wish the forestry had let me know, and I would have paid twice as much to keep it as it is. And I now don't have that opportunity, which irks me no end. So I would hope you would consider that, and if any of you haven't seen the spot, I would welcome you to come up and see it for yourself, and not approve what's going down here tonight. So, thank you for your time.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, I have in front of me the two of the people who sent in stuff always spoke, and I have a petition, and it was to the Selectmen, Planning Board, Conservation, and it says, we write to you today on the topic of the recent plans to add trails and pull off on North Street to access conservation land. We seek to share our support for certain aspects of the plan, but request to revise other components of the plan. And they have over 124 online signatures for their petition. Rather than reading the paragraphs, because what they say, they're excited to see it and so on, but I'll get right to what their points are, which is the main crux, I think, is one is environmental destruction. Increased car and human traffic will have an adverse impact on the environment, wildlife, but not limited to potential disruption of the nesting of bald eagles in the specific area of Willett Pond. 2, the property is covered in streams and ponds that feed Willett Pond and the Neponset River. Adding a man-made turnout and increasing auto traffic is at odds with protecting our wetlands. 3, this avoidable environmental destruction is contrary to the charter of the Conservation Commission. Beyond specifically prohibiting parking, the deed states the premises will be used exclusively for passive, non-motorized use, clearly in conflict with the turnout. The second part is destroying our town history and scenic roadways, that by building the town out requires destruction of pristine fences and some historical stone walls that added to the industrialization of the protected scenic North Street. It was caused significant increased driving pedestrian danger, as this is one of the narrowest points of North Street, sure to create congestion, and unsafe driving conditions already exist there. Better options for Willett Pond access. They point out, number one, public access exists at the beach on Brook Street, including a wide gradual beach only 25 feet from the road, with an existing unloading area for canoes, kayaks, and parking on Petty Pond Lane, making this urban sprawl turn out unnecessary. North Street is a residential area, and constant drop-offs, idle and unloading will undoubtedly have an adverse impact on the taxpayer and citizens of Walpole. There's already ample parking and drop-off zones at Adams Farm, making this an expensive, unsightly, and dangerous addition, and the cost of taxpayers is significant and little benefit as outlined above. And the group of citizens continues to applaud the town conservation for its foresight in acquiring the land and to provide the public with responsible access. We believe that the small change noted above will provide optimal balance between outdoor recreation opportunities beneficial to the town and surrounding communities while maintaining a safe North Street and protecting Walpole's environment and cherished unblemished open spaces. So that is from, like I said, over 125 people. So I read that into the record, and once again, what I keep coming back to is we're doing the wall. It appears everybody understands it, doesn't have a big objection to it, other than the parking and what's going on, so. But we only do the wall. My suggestion is you find out from the Board of Selectmen when they're having their meeting. First off, they're probably gonna have to design, would you say that, Carl, first?
Design what, Mr. Chairman?
Aren't you guys gonna have to go through and meet with police and all that, and, or are you just gonna present the plan and let them comment? I know you don't know, but
Yeah, I'm not quite sure what we're gonna go to the selectmen for.
well, first off, the selectmen have to vote to do the project. They just can't show up and start digging because they're the road commissioners and so on, so it has to go through them. They also have to approve to do this. Just because you fund it doesn't mean it will happen. So, and that's the time where you'd have to involve the police. I mean, our scenic road is basically the Stones. We're adding parking to a residential. This is something we've never done. It's not like a one driveway, one car coming out.
Right.
And we also have had, when we've done these, if you think about it, is on, what is it, Walsh's, on High Street, we had to move stone. We've had some subdivisions where we've had to do site distances that coincides with the plans and so on, and where they want to put the road. So there's a lot more input. That's all I'm coming to.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes?
I'd like to suggest that we not just hope that the select board consider that we actually send like a memo kind of outlining our concerns and saying that, you know, if the select board is going to go forward with this, we'd like an opportunity to comment on, you know, kind of site plan issues that we see.
That's fine.
Is there a plan? So you don't know of a plan to go before the selectmen. Landis, do you know of a plan? Because one of the conditions in our scenic road is public safety, and if we aren't going to have that addressed by the Board of Selectmen, then I think we have to address it more in depth.
Yeah.
So my understanding with the public safety is that you address trees and rocks.
No.
So as far as going before any other board, that issue had not come up since day one for this project. And the Board of Selectmen is aware of this project. The town engineer is aware of this project. The town meeting was aware of this project, and at no point in time was
town meeting
any
was
issue
aware.
of going before the Board of Selectmen.
But
for-
town meeting was aware of purchasing the land, not the specifics of the project.
You're right. I was just going by the list of the different
Right.
different
But-
things. I know the members of the Board of Selectmen are aware of this project.
But this board has, you know, kind of unique experience for this kind of like site plan issues, things of, you know, site distance and, you know, signage and parking and all of that. So I think they wouldn't typically look at it unless maybe we or someone suggested that they do or offered our comments. So I think we should.
think
Well,
we
I
should-
think
I
the
think we
question
should
was,
make sure
memo.
that
the question was, did we know that we had to go before the Board of Selectmen for the road commission? And no,
Okay.
that had not come up.
I think it would be important to make sure that these issues are addressed.
I have a suggestion. Can we continue this to hearing from the Board of Selectmen, whether they're going to be
Or Select Board.
addressing this? So that we know before we vote it? Because I'm not comfortable voting it not knowing how it's gonna proceed. And I don't think Landis can speak to that in her defense. I don't think, as she said, there was no plan for it. It's not that, the intent has been there, there's no question.
I think if we had known,
Right.
we would have done that. My understanding with the scenic road and that line item that says safety has to do with the stone wall and the trees, not other items pertaining to the safety of the road itself. So so we were going about with the information that we had. So if this is new information, then I guess it has to be addressed. I agree, it's not a driveway, it's a turnout.
I'll address the public safety, that's under our purview, we've been doing this long enough, and the fact is, public safety is how we're gonna enter onto a road, that's public safety. And this is what.
Absolutely.
And you're entering on a road that's like this is the questions that are coming up.
But typically, when we address public safety, we have comments.
We already have a
from-
traffic study, we already have sight distance and all that. We don't even see the sight distance
But
on
what
here.
I'm
I'm not
trying to
arguing there is sight
And
distance.
we usually get comments from the police department.
Yeah.
And the fire department.
Yep.
So that's why I'm not trying to,
For scenic road,
I'm
you
not
get
trying.
comments from
Well, no, public safety comments. So usually when a scenic road comes to us, there's a project going on that's already progressed through the different departments. So this one's a little different in that it's different, it's unique. We haven't had anything like this before. So that being
understand
said, yes, the public safety is usually addressed, not necessarily at the scenic road, but we know what's going on because it's been addressed in the other hearing we're having. Do you follow me?
I
So this-
absolutely.
So that's my concern, so that's why instead of just, voting against it, I'd rather see us postpone it and defer, just so I think they are the board to, I don't think we're the ruling board on that part of it, and I think they are the board to hear that, but I'd like to know that's gonna happen, or hear that they did, one or the other, before I endorse it. That's why I'd love to see it.
Well, I don't think they considered it, because if they had, the information would be on the plans.
But maybe it's just oversight, is what I'm trying to say. I don't think there was intent to not consider it. I think that it's unique. It's a weird situation. We haven't had one like this. So that's why I don't think the intent was not to consider it.
So just so that I am clear, are you saying, so it seems that, Chairman, you're bringing up that it has to go before the Board of Selectmen for the road commission, but that's new information tonight. I understand you're very knowledgeable, and that's where it's coming from. If that's not the case, and you continue the hearing, and we come back to the scenic road hearing, would you require public safety information pertaining to pedestrians crossing the road, signage, and traffic counts or site distances? Would you require all that information as connected to a scenic road hearing?
If the selectmen aren't gonna do it, we'll do it.
Okay, I think we need to know what we expect to come back with so that we can be prepared.
One of the things, it's very simple, you've been doing this long enough, is you just don't go out and move a stone wall with the town guys. You gotta hire somebody, selectman's gonna say, yes, we vote to do this, and so on and so forth. There's a whole procedure on this, as we know. We just don't go willy-nilly. It's like the schools, when we did the schools, had to get the selectmen had to vote, yep, you can do this to school. Every project in town needs a vote.
I understand. I'm just trying to make it clear for myself and the other people working on this project, your expectations if you continue the hearing and we need to come back.
Okay, now, it just understood, you heard tonight, all these people, if we don't do that, and the selectmen don't do it, then nothing's gonna get done. You guys.
I don't think that's necessarily true.
All
I
right,
think
well,
it'll
okay,
get
what
done
would,
anyways,
Landis,
but.
I'm not
understood where you're
Pick a
coming
fight.
from.
All
No,
right?
I.
I'm just gonna say, say if we said this is fine, and you never go to the selectmen, nobody is gonna make you put up any signs. Nobody's gonna make you put a crosswalk. Nobody's gonna make you do anything, because there's nothing to tell you to do it.
Chairman, I'm agreeing with you. I'm just trying to get clear, if you're continuing the public hearing, what you're expecting on the plan when we come back.
Well, we will ask the selectmen if they're gonna have a hearing with the people, so they can voice their concerns, and they can have the police input and signage and all that. I know Kyle's guys do that. And if they're not gonna do it, then we'll do it. One way or another, we wanna make sure, you heard all the concerns, and you even agree with it. Let's get them.
Yep. I do have a letter from Barry, Paul Barry. But
It's half the battle.
which was said, I put out an email several weeks ago, almost a month now, to both the police department and the fire department, because this also went through conservation, because I thought it was pertinent to get their comments, because, as I say, I agree with what you're saying.
Did he give you any?
And I, yesterday, got a letter back from Paul Barry, which would be included in the Conservation Commission hearing. Again, it was, I did ask about the safety issue, and my understanding at the time, and you've changed my understanding, and I appreciate that, is that the safety had to do with the walls and the trees.
For us, okay? Well, one thing you might get.
You learn something new every day.
Yeah, well, one of the things I'm sure with the fire department may want something big enough for the ambulance to sit there if they gotta fish someone out of the trail.
I do think it will help with first responders to have the turnout, in addition to other town people.
So what we'll do is, you're right, we'll hold this hearing in abeyance, and,
Do we want to ask the applicant if they want to continue?
We need an
yeah, we're
extension.
gonna have to ask you to continue.
You're asking us?
Yeah, we're gonna ask the selectmen, who's gonna do the signs and all that, us or you?
But we're asking you whether you want to continue the hearing.
Or you want to roll the dice on our vote?
Well, I think with the questions that have come up, that probably be, the best thing is to continue the hearing, and we'll proceed one way or the other on this, questions that have come up.
Okay, what we
either
can do,
with
Jack,
the
is,
select board or
what we
through you.
can do is continue to May 20th, give an extension through the end of May. We got to schedule it, so May 20th, we get an answer back, and then things start rolling. If it's not ready, we can continue to the next time. If it's ready on the 20th, we're ready to go.
Okay.
Okay? So can we have an extension through
May 31st?
May 30th, first?
What's your question?
Can we have an extension to take action
You
on the
need to get
scenic road?
permission that we,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do I need,
No, we need it. You tell us you want it.
okay, May 20th would be fine.
No, May 20th is our meeting. We always go to the end of May,
May 18th, Jack.
on May 18th. So we always ask to the end of the month. So, and then we'll schedule you for May 18th. So can we have it?
You're asking us if we want to continue to May 20th?
No, 18th. It's-
May 18th.
But what I'm asking, I need an extension through, I can't give you the date until you give me the extension.
So you can just
You're
say.
granted an extension.
I
Through
grant
May
you an
31st.
extension.
Okay,
That's
thank
what
you.
you want?
That's okay.
Sorry, I
And
don't understand.
That's fine, and we'll continue this on May 18th. Do we have a time?
Why don't we just do 7 and get it right in? and out?
7:05, okay. We'll continue this public hearing on May 18th at 7:05. In the meantime, we'll contact the selectmen to see what they want to do and how they're going to approach it. And we'll copy you guys. If they're going to do it, that's one thing. If we're not, then someone's going to have to start generating signs. And
Jack, a question. Specifically, are you looking at the wording of a sign, or just that there will be signs?
Well, what we'd be looking for is, first off, the police, definitely, what they think for that. And then the fire department, if they think it's all right for turn off and crowd. This is the safety thing, that's what everybody's addressed here.
The fire department did respond to Landis's letter, and their basic theme in their response was, their concern was safety, so.
What will happen is, if it becomes under us, Jack, we will send the fire department a letter saying, we're having this and the safety, send us your comments. And we'll do this, if we do it, we'll send the same thing to the police department.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah,
So the Conservation Commission hearing is still open.
yeah.
So if it's revised on the Conservation Commission plan signage based on police and fire comments, would that suffice?
Are they commenting on your conservation? You already have a
Yes,
signage plan?
That's what we're saying, that Paul Berry did comment on the plan, which is the same that you have, that's been submitted to the Conservation Commission. I'm waiting for the police comments.
Okay, so if they give you the comments, that's good, you'll be able to do your homework.
We could revise the plan to
Correct,
show
with,
correct,
Right.
signage and stuff.
If they require something bigger because of the size
Brad
of the
Marchand
ambulance
over there,
compared to a
he'll be more than
normal
happy to do
car, maybe they'll want a larger turnout or something, yeah.
but we will, and if that's done, then your hump is over. Now it's a matter of whose court is it? Is it gonna be ours or the selectmen's? So if you garnish that now, that'd be great.
It's in the works. is
Okay,
what I
all right,
said.
so-
But it's not something that has been forgotten.
We'll just have to
We
determine,
just need to get the comments back from.
yeah, you get the comments, you put them on your plan, and typically, as you know, you get comments, police and fire, whatever they want is what they're gonna get. So, and then you'll have it there, just a matter of who's, like I said, whose court, ours or the selectmen's. Okay?
Again, do you want verbiage on signage, or just that there will be?
Shown on the plan.
What actually the sign will read?
Detail, location,
Whatever the
verbiage.
typical sign they're looking for. Yeah, they're gonna tell you, slow down or something.
The more detail you have, the better it is.
Mr. Chairman, can I ask just
Thank you.
one question?
But before you go, what you can do, Landis, if you want to add a supplementary plan to this, is if you have it all on your conservation plan, you can submit that too. You don't have to redraw this one.
Okay, and do you have, so if we've continued to May 18th, when would we have to have that revised plan?
2 weeks before. But,
May 4th.
Around the
but here's the
beginning.
other thing. We don't know if we're going to do it. Could go down.
Right, I understand that, just trying to get all of the
Yeah.
information together so that we can get to the end result.
You can show a supplement, you show it's for us, and then if we're going to do the safety, you can have that, what you're doing on your plan, as part of this plan.
Right.
We're not asking you to redraw everything.
Kate's fine.
Thank you.
One sec.
Do we need the 14 days because it's not going to go anywhere?
What are we talking about?
I mean, they didn't respond the first time around, so,
But we didn't send it to police and,
but we don't.
yeah, I know, but we maybe would.
No, we have to find out from the selectmen. Are we going to do the safety on this?
Right. I understand that, but do we need the 14 days? You still want the 14 days?
Yeah, yeah. So, Ms. Gamble. Kathy?
Kathy Campbell, 35 Burns Ave. Mr. Chairman, I just have a question. If this meeting is continued until the 18th and a select meeting occurs in between that time, how would the residents know that that select meeting is taking place? I'm sure there's not like a notification that would go out, correct?
No, I don't think they have any requirements for it, but it would be on their agenda, but we can let you know.
The agendas are posted online, though.
Yeah, but the chances are them, we're only talking a few weeks here anyway. Chances are them getting all this up and running. And chances are they may go, you do.
Okay. So again, the residents should just look online between now and the 18th, and if there's nothing there.
If they want to call our office, we
Okay.
can tell them
Okay.
is what the result of the letter was.
Okay. And then if not, we'll be back here addressing safety.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
If it's ours on the 18th. We could come back, we'd continue the 18th, we may work here, and if the selectmen say they're gonna do it, then we'd vote, and we'd be done, and you'd be off and running with them.
Correct, okay. I just wanted to understand the logistics between tonight and.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? Everybody understand this convoluted way we're doing it?
Let's see, so if this does end up going to the Board of Selectmen, the timeframe that we're talking about is, between now and the 18th, and if it works out that way, that
If
it
it's-
goes to the Board of Selectmen, I think there should be a hearing. If it goes to the Board of Selectmen, there should be a hearing.
Well, that's what we'll write in the
Not
letter
just,
is-
not just a letter from the fire department, police department, and, oh, we're good to go, without anybody, from the town government hearing from the public on the matter.
Okay, the best way to explain it is, the simplest route would be, we send them a letter and they say, you do it, meaning us. Okay, we tell Landis, she gets it all together by the 18th, we see what the safety is, and everything's all right, then we can vote it that night. If the selectmen say, no, we're gonna do that, then on the 18th, we're satisfied for our little stone wall, we vote it that night, and then off and running with the selectmen. When they have it is up to their discretion, but we will put in the letter to them that we strongly urge that you have, there's been all the citizens here concerned about the public safety, signage, crosswalks and all that, so that you guys can be heard.
Yes, thank you.
Okay?
Mr. Chairman?
Yep.
Could I ask a question of the applicant?
Yep.
I'm sorry, just one question I thought of. Did you investigate doing kind of an entry and exit? So you'd have more space for a vehicle to pull in, there's less disturbance in a wall, and maybe it might be safer. Did you look at that option? If you know, like a circle drive?
I thought
Joe may
that
have a different
too.
spin on that, but
Yeah.
my spin is we were trying to disturb
Yeah.
the least amount of area possible.
Right.
Being conservation land,
Yeah.
you see other land along North Street where you have stone walls and then you have lawn for 50 feet.
Yeah.
This is the only disturbance we're attempting to do on this property
Yeah.
is just to pull a car in and out.
Right.
So I think doing what you described would mean more fill and would mean more of a distance along the front of the property.
Well, the way I imagine it, so there would be a disturbance of
I'm
a
not
stone
an
wall
engineer.
as you come in, right? And then there would be some kind of drive, and then a disturbance as you come out, and that wall in between would remain.
I don't think we would have the space due to the constraints of the property line.
It's very
okay.
narrow.
Yeah.
It's not full frontage there, it's very narrow. And then
And that, the whole pull-out can't go further north?
No, because then you get into the 25-foot buffer.
Okay,
So it's very,
within 25 feet of the stream.
okay, I see. Okay, so you looked at it, okay,
very narrow.
yeah. But
To the street.
it looks like maybe we could do something, but,
Yeah.
All right, we're all set?
thank you.
All right, we'll continue this to May 18th. Meantime, you want to call the office, and anybody calls and they give an email, we'll send you the letter we sent to the selectmen, and whatever else comes back. And so just call us. Next time you see us will be May 18th, no matter what, at 7:05. Thank you, and we will continue. And what about a bridge? I think they go with a tunnel. We'd all go with a tunnel.
No, I need the ones with the stickies on it.
The what?
The butters, I don't have a copy of that.
Oh.
Good night, thank you.
Wow.
Some sugar? Want some candy? Good night, Joe.
All right, Carl.
What are you doing next, John?
What I'm doing next? Clock tower. All I need is... Magic. They appear from nowhere.
I thought we were getting out of here.
They were booted out of Ravens. Okay, with the hour being after 7:10, we have a letter from Legacy Engineering on behalf of the applicant for East Walpole Clock Tower, right? We submitted a revised plan on the 10th, so they needed more time for us to review. The Conservation approved the project April 12th, and the zoning board continued to May 15th, so hopefully the zoning board will close that night. So They would like to see if they get on the 18th, and they give us a request through May 31st, so I'll make a motion to grant them extension up through May 31st.
Second?
There's a second, all in favor? Aye. Okay, and what time on the 18th, Kate?
Well, 7:15 is a scenic road, so
Yeah, right after, what time?
7:20?
7:20?
7:05?
Yeah, we did say 7:05.
Oh, I'm sorry, it says,
She
it
works in
says
her own
7:05.
world. Okay. Next one, Bristol Brothers. We should have 4 things to do, correct?
Yep.
Okay.
All right, the top one is the 2-year.
Okay. Top one's a 2-year, okay. Bristol Brothers is seeking an extension for additional 2 years for their AQV. It had already been approved, and what they did is they noted in there was something in the act of the COVID crisis that gives them anyway, because everyone's getting 2 years, but they asked for it anyway, if everybody follows what I'm saying, because right now we have the approved one and the approved site plan. So they're looking for just to cross all the i's and dot the t's, make sure they have, record of it, even though they're allowed. They're looking for us to give it to them, if that makes sense. So they're looking for 2-year extension. Okay, so we'll make a motion to grant an extension for site plan 1908 and special permit 1909 for additional 2 years. Okay, we have a second from Phil. All those in discussion, all in favor? Aye. Opposed, abstained, okay, so he gets that nice. And the second one is, we have from Bristol, is we have 2. Okay, now we have to, we'll open up the continued hearing of Bristol Brothers for site plan, and we'll open up special permit 2301, 2302. And what we have here from the applicant is a request for an extension. So they're asking for an extension for through June 30th, so for both of them. So I'll make a motion to give an extension for the site plan through June 30th and give them an extension through June 30th for the special permit. Do I have a second for both?
Second.
Second. Any discussions? All in favor? Aye, okay. And what they want to do? They want May 18th?
7:20 is the clock tower, what do you want to do?
Did they ask for May 18th?
They said yes, that they, our next hearing.
Yeah, fine. What time?
7:25
7:25 on 5/18. All right.
on both. 7:25 and 7:26.
Yeah.
Yep. And, okay, now we got one more to do.
Yep.
Warwick?
Yep.
Bristol's done. Okay. We have a continued public hearing for Warwick subdivision at 7:15, and the applicant has asked that he would like an extension up through May 31st, 2023. I'll make that in the form of a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second. Any discussions? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstained? There is 500. He wants May 23rd, May, so that would be May 18th.
7:30?
Yeah. Who knows? The other thing is, the way Bristol's going, who knows? We may be sitting there, too. And same thing with Warwick. So, that takes care of it all, other than now we're on to... This is it? This is it? We only play a full houses, Phil. We have, got the folder there, please. All right, we have the hour being after 7:30. We have a continued public hearing for Freiberg at 965 West Street, known as Bruin Court. With that being said, we'll open it up, and Mr. Mackey.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman. Phil Mackey, 1256 Washington Street, Norwood, Massachusetts. This is Council Foreign on behalf of the applicant. With me is Scott Henderson, the engineer of the project, and Mike Freiberger, one of the two landowners and applicant for the subdivision. Where we left off, you gave us some homework items at the end of the last hearing. We did go to the Board of Health, and to the best of my knowledge, you have an approval letter instead of what was there before. We have supplied a mutual maintenance agreement and a covenant for Carl to review. I'll let him comment, but I believe those will be satisfactory. You had asked that we find the plan that shows, and I emailed this to Kate, brought some hard copies too.
Thank you.
Plan of record, Mr. Freiberger and his wife own Lot F on that plan. And as you can see, contrary to what the assessor's plans have, you get to, Jack, you got to share.
Oh my God, what? I thought your father was bad.
But you can see that the land actually does go all the way out to the street with the rounding, and the assessors probably need to update their maps.
All right, I'll stop you there for a moment, Phil, because as you're reeling through this, you did talk about Board of Health.
Yep.
And they sent us something on the 10th of March, and then this was, and then you have the final, what you said on the 22nd of March, where it said that they voted unanimously for clarification, and that they removes its previous rejection and approves the project at 465. So what you've said there is right here with us, so.
Great.
Okay, what is it? What's this, for the floating easement?
No, that's actually, Mike owns in fee simple all the way out to the road. No, Lot F is just a very strangely created remnant of land. But clearly, when they did that, they intended, they had 46 feet wide with roundings. So we don't need an easement over somebody else's land, which was important.
Okay, where was the on Lot F?
Lot F. If you see the little arrow, it starts down here, it's all of this, and then goes out there.
And
to there. That's their frontage currently.
So they own the whole deal?
They do.
Okay.
And
what was being claimed?
The assessor's maps don't show this piece right there.
Yeah.
And so Sarah asked, did we have permission to go over somebody else's land, which is a perfectly valid question. But the assessor's maps are wrong.
Except on a, well, first off, the assessors map are not, what do you call it?
Yes.
Gospel. They're what they are, for
Right.
assessing purposes.
But you asked us, and, you know, we want you to be comfortable that you're voting on a subdivision that Mike actually owns. So with that, I don't believe there was any other legal questions. Scott made a few changes to the drainage per Carl's request. I'll let him go over those with you, and then we're here to answer questions.
Okay, I assume we did this before, February 14th? That's yours, Carl, we did that before, right?
February 14th, yeah.
All right, I got
Yeah, the
this
latest
here.
one I have is April 11th.
All right, that's what I have in front of me. Okay, if you'd like to go ahead, please, Carl.
Sure, Mr. Chair, I delivered a memo to the board April 13th. The first three items were carried forward from original memos that are in the general. The first has to do with the addresses of the lot. I question whether it would be West Street addresses. I don't believe the topic was ever discussed, but if the road is created, I believe you desire Bruin Court addresses.
Yes.
So number one is out of the way. Number two and three are the private way covenant and the mutual maintenance agreement. As Mr. Mackey indicated, he delivered them to me. We did a quick review and got a few things squared away in there, and the documents you have are all set to go. The remaining items are number 35, 6, 7. Those are new comments. These are basic drafting items, revising sheet indexes, revising text sizes, a recommendation to label the overflow weir and the drainage, and then an indication that we want a private way sign on the street sign that will be out on West Street indicating Bruin Court when that's done, and then a very minor change to a cover on the infiltration system. And then finally, the last comment, number 38, was that we had observed testing That was a recommendation of our original review. This would be soil testing for the drainage. It revealed what we needed to know about where the groundwater was and the soil types. And also, as Mr. Mackey indicated, the engineer, Scott Henderson, revised the drainage report and the drainage accordingly, and we're happy with it. So really, the few comments under plan review, the ones numbered 35, 6, 7, 23, 26, and 38, those could be adopted as conditions to be done before the plans are endorsed, if the board's so inclined.
All right. You have anything else? No?
We honestly don't.
That's
Subject
it?
to your questions, I'm not going to
Okay.
ask to close quite
All
yet.
right, I think we answered questions that we had and Kyle's and no one else. Everything else has been crossed off. So I'll start, if there's anything, I'll start with you, John, this time. You got anything?
I'm trying to remember the project. If I'm right, one of these lots is mostly wetlands, is that right?
Both lots have wetlands and uplands.
Yeah.
Both lots are actually buildable by the technical letter of the law. The Lot 2, is it? Or is it Lot 1, excuse me. Just because of the way the uplands are actually located on the ground, it's questionable that that ever could be built. But as far as zoning goes, they both are completely compliant with the bylaw.
Okay. Just wanted to recall if that was what I was thinking. My past memory, okay, we got the circles and everything. Split lot, okay. So it's basically just subdividing the two and getting it, putting the circle in to get the two lots to legal, okay. And the existing driveway is basically going to stay the same as it is, right?
That's what we have requested from the board. If we get to the point of talking about the decision and conditions, it was brought up that the Form F actually covers most of what we were concerned about. We would have to massage a couple of the standard conditions that anticipate construction inside of 2 years. But if your board so chooses, nothing gets built at all unless Mr. Freiberger or whoever buys the subdivision in total seeks a building permit for Lot 1.
Well, he can seek it, he can build it, you just can't sell it.
Right. But,
We
I
got that
mean,
going on right now up on Washington Street.
That's
That's a
true.
lot of money, we're on house 3. They haven't
Yes.
got a bond yet.
But the goal, John, to answer your question, is to build absolutely nothing right
Nothing
now.
at this time, yeah.
This is to get
I
legal
don't believe I have any
frontage.
other questions then.
Okay.
I have no new questions.
Phil?
Yeah, one question I have is, did we resolve whether the Lot 2 is in the water protection area, Area 3? Because it looked like it is when I look at our overlay.
The southernmost section of that,
Yeah.
where the existing driveway is, where it
Yeah.
runs in, that does nick. But nothing is being proposed within that area, even under the subdivision that's proposed. If we were to do that work, none of that falls within that district.
So the actual plan, nothing in the plan
No,
is in
nothing,
there?
no.
Okay.
So that area remains untouched. Mike's driveway now partially encroaches into that area. If you go up his driveway, it's paved, it's gravel, then it's paved, that gravel section is in that area. Mike's house itself on Lot 2 is in a different watershed. Everything drains to the north, not the south, so there's sort of a divide there.
Okay, just to be clear, so nothing in the plan as presented is in Area 3?
Correct.
Okay, just, yeah. And then there was the question, I think that Sarah brought up about I think that's what you kind of answered with John, about you were looking for the court case with Judith Cutler,
So, I did look into it. It doesn't really apply. The court case was Cesario versus the town of Walpole versus a bunch of abutters. It did actually go to court, and long story short, this board approved I believe it was called Railway Subdivision. It was a 2-lot subdivision, 1 lot. Jack was on the board, so he probably actually can tell you better than I, but looking through the paper trail, it was a 2-lot subdivision, 1 lot complied, 1 lot did not. Both had sufficient frontage and area. And that's kind of where I stopped, because in this particular case, as far as zoning goes, I have 2 compliant lots.
So it doesn't apply, is what you're saying?
It really doesn't. And I'm pretty sure there is a 1-page letter somewhere out there, but I, to be totally honest, didn't find it. But once I saw the decision and the subsequent approval from the board, I stopped at that point. And if we ever do have an applicable situation, I'll find the rest of it for you.
Okay. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Sarah?
Yeah, I also looked a little bit into it, and I, I'm comfortable with what you proposed, even if you haven't given me exactly that case. One question, so the design of the hammerhead, is it possible to have one end so that if you wanted to develop that lot 1, that you can easily put a driveway to it? Or did you look at
Yeah.
potentially developing that and what you would do?
That was generally the intent. So the way that Hammerhead's laid out, I'm going to open the plan so I can look at it while I speak to it. Generally, that as you drive down the road and enter that Hammerhead, that spur to the left, that would be intended to be the driveway access for that lot 1 if you were to develop it. There's grading to deal with there. There's more, to be done for sure. But that's generally the idea. And that's not uncommon, the sort of double use of pavement. There's no
Yeah.
sense in. So the only excess pavement would be that T at the very end.
Okay.
So that is-
So it's just because the lot lines are pretty tight around there, but you looked at it and it is
Oh, yeah.
sufficient to put in?
Yeah, and I provided to the fire department an emergency vehicle maneuvering figure
Okay.
showing their ladder truck pulling in, backing into that, and making a 3-point turn out. And I believe they supplied a letter prior to the first hearing showing that. None of that layout has changed since what we presented to you the first hearing.
Okay, that's good. And then, have we discussed about the road name? Are you proposing a new road name, or you want to keep the West Street address, or?
We
'cause there's
intended
a-
this being Bruin Court.
Okay,
I think it makes sense. It is a 2-lot subdivision.
right,
And it is a private road.
yeah.
So
Do you have approval of that name?
there is no more street approval committee, but we did submit it, and I believe it was acceptable.
Okay. I don't know what that says. Is that in relation to that, or?
I don't know if he's read it before or not.
I didn't read it as
Right.
it passed by.
You got Bruins,
Bruin Court?
Bruins Way, Diana's Way, Pile
What?
Court.
They want court.
So you got your choice.
We would like Bruin Court.
No S, right?
No, you can't have Bruins Court.
Why can't we?
Listen once again. Once again, I'll be very succinct.
Okay,
From Timothy Bailey Jr., Fire Chief.
got it.
Here are your 3 names. 3 names only. Bruins Way,
There you go.
Diana's Way, or Pile Court. You can't mix and match every which way you want.
Bruin's the dog, Diana's the wife. Let's go with the dog.
That's on the record.
Yeah, you'll always have the dog,
Have
right?
fun going home.
What's the pile? I don't understand that.
We don't know.
No, they came up, we thought these names, and one of the builders was next to me, he said, they have a Pile Drive.
Okay, so it will be named Bruins Way. Okay, that's the name, okay.
Bruins Way.
So it's not Bruin Court.
So change it.
No. Alright, so, we got that,
Bruins Way.
No, no
Question.
S, I don't think.
Oh,
Bruins with an S.
Bruins with an
Looking at
S.
sheet 6, is this retaining wall like still actually there now, or is that gonna be built?
Excuse, sorry, that's for you. Sorry.
I'm looking at sheet 6, and there's listed as, oh, maybe I'm looking for my sheet. Sheet 5.
Sheet 5.
Block retaining wall, is that in place, is that currently in place, or is that something that's going to be built,
That's to be built.
to be built?
Yeah.
Are you all set, John, or you?
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry.
Oh, okay,
interrupting, yeah.
okay. Okay, then the only other thing that I had is just a request, if you could add on the cover, just a two-lot, the words, two-lot, single-family subdivision.
Sure. Yeah.
That's all I had, thank you.
Okay. I don't have anything. Sue, just what we'll have for our special conditions is that comments from April 11th by the town engineer, Mr. Carl J. Baldoff, numbers 35, 36, 37, 23, and 26 will be added at the time of endorsement.
Sorry.
And that special conditions, we don't have it, but we'll put it in there, is the name of the road will be Bruins Way. No apostrophe, just Bruins. I'll go down there and battle, have at it. So those are two special conditions that we have. I didn't see anything else, okay.
If I may, Mr. Chairman?
The first one?
Yep.
Kyle's drafting comments from
Okay.
April 11th. You can, you want to put them in, okay, you got them anyway, you can just cut and paste. Okay?
If I may.
Yeah, yep, go ahead, Phil.
As far as special conditions, I don't know if it should be a special condition or it should be a change of the standard condition. But we would ask that we have something along the lines of the applicant should record a Form F covenant at the Registry of Deeds. However, applicant should not be required to post a bond or complete the installation or construction of the way until the applicant or its successor apply for a building permit to construct a single-family home on Lot 1. And the reason I'm asking for that is your standard condition, I forget which number, I think it's 28, I could be off on that, requires all construction to be complete within 2 years or a rescission of subdivision. And that's not what we're asking. I'd either modify that one or put in a special condition.
I've always read it 2 years after you bond. I never read it as the time you get approved. We got a few out there hung around forever, but if you feel more comfortable with it.
I would prefer it, just so that it's clear on record that, and it protects the town, because this is basically saying, before he applies for building permit,
Yeah.
he's gonna actually bond it or do the work.
I don't have any objections. Kate, did you get all that?
Can you just, I missed that, so you don't want to construct the hammerhead until and unless you
Correct.
develop the other lot?
That is correct.
For the 2 years. He wants to, yeah.
Well, wouldn't the fire department want the hammerhead in place, or is
They,
there?
the letter they said, that as long as there's no home on Lot 1, they're satisfied with the driveway as it is.
Okay.
And so
Do we have a
unless
letter
we
that
go
says
to
that?
put a home on Lot 2, Lot 1, we would like to leave the driveway just the way it is, because the fire department said it's sufficient.
Yeah, because it's already existing.
Yeah,
existing,
I
yeah.
believe we discussed this at the last meeting in depth.
Yes.
Yeah. It exists, so there's no harm, no foul.
And I don't want to, 5 years from now, someone start pointing fingers because we're all not here and it's other people trying to, you'll be here, Jack, but
You'll be late.
the rest of us, I
You
don't
get
know.
what Phil wants to do, Kate? Yeah, I
I
get,
do accept,
So
are you
it
talking about
says-
lot 1 or lot 2?
Lot 1, the draft has
Lot 1 is
incorrect.
the undeveloped.
Correct. Lot
Okay.
2 is the one that has the house on it, so
So your special condition number 5
would say Lot 1.
should say lot 1, but it says lot 2.
It does, that's correct.
Yeah.
I was wrong.
That's what was, no, I just wanted, yeah, okay, so that's. all right,
wait a
that's-
minute, wait a minute.
I'm not saying it again,
It's
but
the
it
first time I ever heard a Mackey say I was wrong. I never heard that before.
Right here.
sometimes it
Dad?
does.
Oh, from him, yeah, I'm talking.
He probably had a chest pain somewhere at home right now.
He was like Fonzie trying to say I was long. All right, we got that, okay, we have those as special conditions, so I'll make a motion to approve based upon the special conditions.
Second.
Need a second. Any discussions, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstain? It's a done deal, make a motion, I guess we'll close it.
We
We'll point-
need you to
make a
vote the
motion close.
waivers.
Yeah. Right.
Oh, I'm sorry. The waivers. Oh, I'm sorry. The waivers, we haven't voted those yet?
No.
Oh, okay. We have waiver requests. I'm not gonna read the numbers. Municipal standard impact analysis, traffic impact data, layout plan scale 1 and 60, no streetlights, dead-end street, hammerhead proposed, street grade and intersection, roadway soil analysis, detention basin not located on private property, roadway to remain private, roadway width of 20 feet, 26 required, and a hammerhead dead-end turnaround, roadway cross-section, bituminous Cape Cod berm, no sidewalks, retaining wall or right-of-way or grass plot, 2-to-1 max slope allowed, and no street trees. So those are the waivers.
We can vote them all.
Yeah, okay, we'll vote them all. And Kate, when you put it, you can just take it off here so you get the actual, I'm not gonna bother reading 3-1-C-8, you know, it just be here forever. You want me to read it? Okay. All right, make that a formal motion. Do you have a second?
Second.
You have seconds? All those in favor? Aye. So the waivers are set. Okay, and we approved it, and we approved the thing. I'll make a motion to close the hearing, I guess. Want a second, Phil? All in favor? Aye. All right. All right.
Thank you very much.
Dog's gonna be happy to see you.
Might be the only one.
Okay.
Good night.
That's all for Kate. And, all right. All right. Email, that's the next thing.
Yes, I went to the Citizen Planner Training Collaborative. I went to their, one of their seminars. And one thing they recommended is that members of boards not use their personal email addresses when you're doing town business. So I just want to bring that to the attention of the board. I know I'm using mine, and I'll probably work to change that. I did inquire about whether we could get town email addresses, and we could if we really wanted, but it sounds like it's an awkward process for the town. So it'd be better, I think it'd be better for everyone if you want to separate your email, personal email from our town business email, to get a separate email, where you want to go to do that, and then do all town business on that second email. One reason for doing that would be because if there was ever a request for freedom of information, request for all of your town business, then that would cause you problems. They may want to see all your emails, or you would have to attest that you gave all the emails out of your own collection. So that's just I just want to bring attention to the board members, as I thought it was an important thing to know about.
Okay, one of the things, when we had this from Petrosi before, as you see, I always go through Kate. That way it's between me and her, and if I actually send it to the board, it comes from Kate to all of us. So rather than you send me one, Phil, I go here and let it come back. So that would be the only, so if anybody's looking for emails, I'd only see mine to Kate, and you wouldn't see anything else, do you know what I'm saying? I don't send individual members, I just go, it makes it simpler for me. I mean,
That could work too.
Yeah, because, and I'm not in the habit of sending it to people because I don't need that accusations or whatever. Plus, anything we get is, that's what I'll say, all right, if I get something, send it to everybody, because I don't want to have, like you said, someone will tear your computer apart. So,
But it would be nice if the town gave us an email, because that would give the residents, like, if I wanted to ask a question about something John said in a hearing, I could just look up his town email and then send him a message. Right now, it's only if we decide to share our email with the public, so.
Yeah, and
That would be nice.
I talked to Patrick And he, no, Patrick.
Shield?
Shields,
Oh,
yes.
okay.
Yeah, so the only issue with, and they're open to anything, but it's just a matter of who maintains email addresses when members of the board go off. And,
Yeah.
So, but again, they would be willing to do that if somebody wanted to have an email through the town. So I just want to bring everyone's attention to it. And Jack, what you suggested also may be a good.
Yeah, I
is a
did
good
that
thing
for
to do.
Petrosi, so anything they have is, you're not gonna see it between me and 2 or 3 others, all it is goes this way.
Yeah, so-
And
so any
Kate's
email
the
that
point
goes
man-
to-
Yeah, and
to
that
her.
way, if you have anything to communicate to people, you can just go through Kate, and Kate sends it to everybody. The other thing, you're always better off just saying, if you send something, you wanna say something to Sarah or something related, send it to everybody, to Kate to send to everybody, that way it's, that nobody can say what's going on.
Right, yep.
Transparent, I guess you'd say.
Yep.
All right, and last one?
The master plan.
Yep.
So I can report that we're at the very last stage of the master plan. The committee now has voted on all of the recommendations. There are 102 recommendations in the master plan. So all have been voted on. There's a meeting on the 24th, on Monday. That'll be the final meeting for the master plan committee to approve the draft we're going to get back. So what happened is we've gotten from Judy's company, from Judy Barrett and her company, the almost complete draft. People have submitted some changes to it. None of them are substantive, as far as I know. So it should be fairly straightforward. So it's really, we'll get back the final copy, if you will, and then that'll be our chance to vote on it.
I do have a question. I was
Yeah.
going to email you, so I might as well ask you here while we're here. So we were supposed to get that 2 days ago, and we didn't. And the reason we were doing the meeting on Monday was to give everyone plenty of time to review it. So now the committee's not going to have as much time to review it. So I don't know if Monday is a logical meeting date anymore.
Yeah, now I have to confess, I was on vacation till last night, so just I haven't even looked at any emails until last night.
We haven't gotten,
So I will.
we haven't received it, and
Yeah.
according to our last meeting, we were going to receive it by the 18th,
Yeah,
and
I
we
can-
haven't.
So I can reach out to Judy and see, I know Lauren had been setting out,
18th was the
I talked to her
holiday,
this
yeah.
morning.
Yeah. So just, we might have to bump
Yeah,
that,
you
because you
can
want to
post it
give
all.
everyone a chance to review it.
Yes, yeah, and I think the plan was to not make, unless there's a substantive change, and we do
But
want
there were
everyone
a
to review
lot
it.
of typos.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I think it does
Yeah.
need to be reviewed.
And it does need, no. So let me take that and see what is
Yeah,
going
good.
on. I'll talk to Judy.
Just because I don't want, what's the nice way to say this? Everyone's busy.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
So I
no,
don't want people to just say, oh, I'm sure it's fine.
Right.
And then
not
go
look
to the
at it.
meeting and vote it and have,
Yeah, no, there were a lot of typos. And
Yeah.
I know Judy had mentioned she's going to have somebody go through it again,
Right.
but it doesn't mean they're going to catch everything. So-
Most people don't understand that stuff, but if they see a typo, like the street name's wrong,
They see it right away.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly, they can attack it. You could have the best plan in the world, but you have their street name wrong.
And then the original plan was to see whether the master plan could be presented to the planning board on May 4th. Now, that's pushing the date, and the reason for that was because Judy is not available the third Thursdays of any month. And I know we go on summer schedule, and then we don't meet on the first Thursday. Now, that may not be practical, because it's really pushing it. So I don't know whether the board would be open to a meeting on another night just to approve the master plan. I mean, certainly, we want to give the master, the planning board also needs adequate time to read the report. So I don't want to, we don't want to be pushing that unreasonable, so.
You're gonna have to, first you can find out when you get it, then you can. go from
Yeah,
there.
so I was hoping we would have that tonight. That was the original.
Hopefully, she's not on vacation, so.
what's our June date, Kate?
17th.
Third Thursday, right?
June 15th.
15th, I know, it's
Yeah.
something like that.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's,
Are the planning board meetings on the calendar on the website? Not the planning board, the master plan meetings on the,
You guys schedule when you need them, right?
yeah, I mean,
Yeah, the one you guys got is what, Monday the 24th?
4th is
And then,
there's no other meeting right now planned.
okay. Not, those meetings open to the public, or?
Yeah, they're all open meetings, they get posted 48 hours before the meeting, anyone's welcome to attend. They've been hybrid, you know, we have some members, and also Judy attended the last meeting via Zoom, so we had a Zoom hybrid meeting, and we had some members that attend by Zoom as well.
Okay.
That ends May 1st, right? No more Zoomies.
No more Zoom, that's probably true, yeah.
Yeah, that ends
Yeah.
May 1st
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
And for her.
So
she
this was
has
trying to
drive.
get Judy to be at the meeting with us. That was the whole, that was the purpose of it, was to, you know, we thought that was important to have her here as well.
Yeah,
So,
she's getting paid for it, it'd be nice.
yeah. So would the board be open to a scheduled meeting to consider, you know, to vote on the master plan, knowing that
Well, you don't, when,
it's
not
not
until you
likely.
find out when everything's all set and ready to roll.
Right.
Okay.
But knowing that she may
Why
not.
can't you
be-
do it on the third Thursday?
She has some commitment, I don't know what it is, every third Thursday. That's the one date she can't, the one day of the month
Oh,
she
wait a
can't
minute,
meet.
our June meeting, the 15th, is the 2nd.
I'm sorry?
Oh, it is the 3rd?
Can't be, it'd have to be a third.
June 15th.
Yeah, it's the
Is that
third,
the
yeah.
third?
Because the first,
First, 8th.
7th, and 4th, and 15th.
Yeah, that's the third.
15th, all right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's two.
Yeah.
All right.
So, but that was why we got to the 4th, trying to fit it in before summer. Like I said, I don't think that's gonna work right now at all, because we may not have the plan in time for the master plan committee, so.
All right.
I'm potentially open to it, but it doesn't sound like maybe it's gonna be ready
I-
to really review it.
I would be greatly disappointed at this point if, and of course, you won't be on the board after June 1st, so
Yeah.
that, for you, it may be a moot point.
Yeah.
Yeah, so,
I want to be, so I can zoom into my office. They probably like it that I don't show up. I bet they probably love it. I stay home and Zoom.
I think, so what's the plan? I mean, you have to
Well,
update us
I-
again, right? You don't know.
You'll have to let us
I
know.
have to talk to Judy, because I don't know why we didn't get
Yeah.
the plan, the new draft.
It's all going to be
So we'll
spun
add
off
it
of
again
what
as a
Yeah.
discussion item for the
Okay.
18th.
Yep, okay. All right, that's it? All right. We're done.
Mr. Chair, what about Heidi Street?
Heidi wasn't here.
Oh, no, they didn't, they weren't ready.
They
Okay.
didn't bring
I'm
theirs.
sorry.
They said they were, and
Right.
Kate put them on, and they never showed up.
Okay.
So that's the, all right, done.
Did you motion to adjourn
Motion
second?
adjourned. Yeah, second. All in favor? Aye.
Second, third?